Hey everybody, welcome back to the Body Systems series that we've been doing for the last few weeks. This is week number 4 on the respiratory system, and this is one that was super practical for me to look into because it's something that Jared has struggled with for the last couple of years, and I'm still working on getting to the root of it. But I love that there's always one more thing to learn about how to help support our bodies. So, like always, let's jump right in and get you guys educated, empowered, and on with the rest of your day. So, what does the respiratory system include? I figured this would be a really short list. There's a lot of our body that actually is involved with us breathing. So the basics are the mouth and nose. We know that we can get oxygen through those, the best option being breathing through our nose. But some of us do breathe through our mouth on occasion, although that's not particularly recommended. The sinuses, these are hollow areas between the bones in your head that help regulate the temperature and humidity of the air that you inhale. And this is part of the respiratory system that a lot of people tend to struggle with, my husband included, and me, anytime the pollen around here kicks up. Then there's the pharynx, which is another name for the throat. This is the tube that delivers air from your mouth and nose to your trachea. And the trachea is the next part that's involved in our respiratory system. That's your windpipe, the passage that connects your throat and lungs. Then we have the bronchial tubes. These are tubes at the bottom of the windpipe that connect into each lung. Then you have the lungs themselves, the two organs that remove oxygen from the air and pass it into our blood. Super important because our whole body needs that oxygen. Our diaphragm is the muscle that helps our lungs pull in the air and also push it out. And then I wouldn't have thought about the ribs technically being part of our respiratory system, but they really are. It's physical defense, more or less, because they're the bones that surround and protect our lungs and our heart. So that's really important that those are there and doing their job properly. And then I wanted to make this a slide of its own because these are kind of components that assist the other parts, or maybe are smaller parts of the larger, more well-known parts, but I thought they were worth talking about, and I had to look up the pronunciation of some of these words, so if I butcher them, forgive me. We have the alveoli, tiny air sacs in the lungs where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. So we breathe in the oxygen and then we exhale that carbon dioxide. So we get the oxygen from trees and plants, and then we breathe out that carbon dioxide, and the trees and plants kind of breathe that in. So I think it's really neat that God designed us and nature to work in that symbiotic fashion so that we're all benefiting from each other. And breathing out carbon dioxide is one reason why I refuse to wear a mask. And I don't want to get political, but I'm just saying, breathing that in is not safe for us. It's not something that's supposed to be in our bodies. God created for that to leave our bodies. And I will just leave that at that. Then we have the bronchioles. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I wrote it down. I'm still not sure I'm getting it right. But these are the small branches of the bronchial tubes that lead to the alveoli. Then capillaries are the blood vessels in the alveoli walls that move oxygen and carbon dioxide. Lung lobes are sections of the lungs. There are 3 in the right lung and 2 in the left. I think it's interesting that they have different ones. So our lungs are not exactly symmetrical, which is kind of cool. Is that the word, symmetrical? Like they don't look exactly the same on both sides, but I think that's the word. Anyway, then we have the pleura. These are thin sacs that surround each lung lobe and separate your lungs from the chest wall. Most of these things I didn't really even know we had because, y'all, I hated science in school. So if I learned this in science, it has long since left me because I like learn the stuff long enough to repeat it on a piece of paper and move along. That is not saying my mom did not try to teach me. I just hated science. Then you have the cilia, which are tiny hairs that move in a wave-like motion to filter dust and other irritants out of the airways. Thank you, Lord, for those, because this mama doesn't get to dust very often. And then you have the epiglottis. This is a tissue flap at the entrance of the trachea that closes when you swallow to keep food and liquids out of the airway. Again, super glad we have that. And then our larynx, which is our voice box, the hollow organ that allows you to talk and make sounds when air moves in and out. And can you imagine how intricate that must be for us to make all the different sounds in all the different languages in all the different countries of the world? Like, just think about that. That's so cool. God created our bodies in such an amazing fashion. So that's all what's involved in us breathing or speaking or anything that involves air in our body. So I wanted to talk about like a couple aspects of health. I'm not going to break each one of these down. We'd be here all night, and we're already at almost 6 minutes. So sinus health, here are just some basic tips that I found, but some of these things were new to me, so I'm hoping that they'll be helpful to you and my husband as well. Obviously, what we eat affects our body in every way, like not just weight or our blood sugar or whatever. It affects every system of our body. So there are some troublesome foods that you want to avoid, being sugar, which like you should avoid sugar for every system of your body's sake, but especially for sinuses, refined flours and grains, fruit juices, which guys, most of those are straight up sugar anyway, unless it's like a really, really pure juice. But we've cut them out entirely for years now. And then dairy can also affect the sinuses, and this is something I may need to try with Jared. I just really happen to love my dairy, and he does too, but it might be worth a shot. So I think we're gonna try it. Gotta talk to him before I just rip that out of our diet. But also, excuse me, the neti pot. Jared has used this for quite a while, and it's great for like symptomatic relief in the moment. I don't personally think it's a real long-term solution, but Jared uses this often. So the idea of the neti pot, it looks like a little teapot. You put the little end of it up one nostril, tilt your head. The water runs through the nasal passage and out the other nostril. Jared can do this just fine. I feel like I'm drowning, so I've only done it once and only made it through one side. So that tells you how tough I am. But we make a solution for this. We don't use the solution that comes in it, but we use 8 tablespoons of the finest sea salt we can find. Like by fine, I mean the texture of the salt, not necessarily quality. Obviously, you want it to be the best quality you can find, but fine as in texture, because you don't want those things getting stuck in your nose. So finest sea salt you can find, 8 tablespoons of that, 10 drops of rosemary essential oil, and 6 drops of tea tree essential oil. And we mix that all together until like the oils don't make the salt clumpy anymore. And then Jared adds 1 teaspoon of the salt solution to the neti pot each time he does the rinse. So that's really helped him, at least in the moment, to relieve some symptoms. This particular recipe comes from Life Science Publishers Essential Oil Desk Reference 8th edition. That's what I use for a lot of my research and suggestions for what we use in our family, and we have found everything we've tried with that to be super helpful. So I love that book as far as personal empowerment for our family, but I wanted to credit them because that recipe is not original with me. Vitamin C, this may reduce inflammation and shorten the length of sinus issues, so that's kind of cool. Like we all know vitamin C is good for us. You all hear it for immune system all the time, but it also affects the respiratory system, which I really didn't know was a specific thing it did. Hydration, getting water is super important. I think I've talked about it in just about every video, but in this for this particular system, it helps to thin the mucus so that it can drain more easily from your body. And on that point, you're going to want to avoid a lot of caffeine and alcohol because both of those will dehydrate you, even though they're liquids. Personally, I don't drink alcohol in any fashion. I don't recommend you drink it for any reason, but that's a personal decision. Coffee, I love coffee. I have at least 1 cup in the morning. It's just a thing for me. Like my day doesn't feel like it started until I've had my coffee. So then I'm just supposed to drink a ton of water after I have my coffee to help make up for that. Can't say that's my strong point, but drink your water. And then also ginger. Studies have found that ginger can promote the secretion of mucus from the airway. So that could be really helpful. Then lung health. Steam therapy works for some people. This allows the mucus to drain off of the lungs, although the professionals will tell you that it's not a long-term solution. And let me just say, I am not a professional. Nothing that I'm telling you tonight is meant to diagnose anything or cure you or whatever. The FDA hasn't approved anything that I have said or I'm about to say. This is all for educational purposes entirely. So please don't think I'm a doctor. I am not. I told you I don't like science, so I obviously don't have any kind of degree in that. Exercise can also help your airway because it increases the body's breathing rate, which improves your lung muscle health. So the lung is a muscle and muscles need to be exercised. Can't say that's my strong point either. But this may not be wise for those with severe breathing conditions like COPD or maybe asthma, things like that. But some light exercise would still be a good idea just to keep everything moving there. Then green tea, this contains an antioxidant that supports the body's natural inflammation response. So a lot of issues with the respiratory system are linked to inflammation. So the body has natural levels of inflammation that should be there for certain things to work the way they should. When those responses are unbalanced and drastic, then we have problems in a lot of different ways and functions. So supporting that natural inflammation response is really important. And then also chest percussion, which can be done by a doctor or a respiratory therapist. They'll cup their hands and rhythmically tap your chest to help release mucus. My guess is you could probably find videos on how to do something similar at home. I forgot to look that up before I sat down to record this video. But most of those kind of techniques you can find. I would even say you could probably ask your chiropractor about this kind of thing. Chiropractors tend to know a little bit about everything, and I personally love my chiropractor. He has made a huge difference in my life. So if you don't have a chiropractor, find one. That's free with the rest of this video. Breathing tips. So there were some exercises that I found that this talked about, and then just a couple kind of basic things. So pursed lip breathing, you're going to relax your neck and shoulders as you breathe in through your nose and breathe out at least twice as long through your mouth with pursed lips. That sounds pretty simple, and it's free. And then belly breathing, you're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth at least 2 to 3 times as long as you inhale. Be sure to relax your neck and shoulders as you retrain your diaphragm to take on the work of helping to fill and empty your lungs. So the idea being you really want to use that diaphragm instead of like using your shoulders to open up your airway. That's where like the relaxing everything so that the diaphragm can do its work comes into play. And then good posture, because this allows your diaphragm and your chest muscles and everything to move freely that need to be able to move to properly breathe. And then singing, because this combines good posture and deep breathing and controlled breath in a fun way. I personally love to sing. I've had the opportunity to do it at my church since I was in high school, and even before that in my previous church, where I was gonna say where I grew up, but we moved here when I was 12. Anyway, up to the point that I was 12, I sang in a young girls quintet, and then was able to join our youth choir when we moved down here to North Carolina when I was 12. So I have sung for a long time. I really love it, and it really does help teach you to control your breathing. So if you enjoy singing, even if you're not good at it, really concentrate on your breath control when you're singing, because that'll help you exercise those muscles without actually going out and like running, because that's not my thing. And then let's talk about some breathing besties from Young Living that can help to promote your respiratory wellness. So if you guys have watched any of these videos, you've heard me talk about Ningxia Red, because Ningxia Red is good for everything. It contains those antioxidants, which helps protect, that's not the word I want to use because that's probably not compliant. It helps to maintain your wellness on a cellular level because it's combating free radicals and all those nasty things. And we already heard that antioxidants were going to be good for our respiratory system. So Ningxia, people, 1 ounce a day, you drink it. Super simple. You literally cannot find a more simple supplement regimen. Then Super C, this is Young Living's vitamin C supplement. It comes in a swallowable tablet or a chewable tablet, so take your pick, whichever works better for you. I will say the one that you swallow is a little on the large side, so if you struggle with that, you might want to go with the chewable. Inner Defense, this supports healthy respiratory function and includes the oils oregano, thyme, and thieves. It's a gel capsule, super easy to swallow. Jared already takes this twice a week. I might need to get him to take this more often, but it is one that we've used multiple times and that I grab anytime I'm under the weather because it's also great for the immune system. So if you watch that video, you've already heard about this. Then Ginger Vitality, you can apply this topically, but it's also labeled as like a dietary supplement, so it's generally regarded as safe for consumption. And I have taken oils internally for the last few years, never had a problem. So it is safe despite all of the things you might hear on the internet that say, don't do it, don't do it. It's not that oils aren't safe, it depends on the purity of the oil. So if you want to know about Young Living's purity standards, you can go to seed2seal.com and check that out. We grow all our own. We never use pesticides. We plant by hand. We harvest a lot of them by hand. We use sheep to weed the fields and some of our farms. It's amazing the lengths that Young Living goes to produce a pure, effective product. But with ginger, you can swipe it across the bridge of your nose or apply it below your first and second toe to maintain a healthy environment in the respiratory system. And why below the first and second toe? That sounds really crazy, right? If you know anything about the VitaFlex points on the body, our feet are like a map to the rest of our body. And different areas, if you put pressure or apply an oil, it's going to interact with part of your body. So just go Google VitaFlex points on feet, and you are going to come up with a host of images that will show you where all those map out. So it's amazing how that works. When I do struggle, when the seasons change and the pollen's out and all that, and I put on my favorite blend of oils for that, I will rub them below my feet oftentimes because some of the oils are photosensitive, and if the sun shines on them, it can burn your skin. So I'll apply it below my toes before I go outside, and it makes a huge, huge difference. So I just think it's really fascinating that God created our bodies that way. Then also Peppermint Vitality. Medical doctor Jean Valnette studied this for its effect on the liver and the respiratory system. So that's kind of cool. I love how multifunctional oils are. I could talk about that for a whole nother class. But peppermint maintains a healthy environment in the respiratory system, and it's also included in all 3 of the oil blends that we're about to talk about. So these are 3 of our personal favorite oils for breathing that Jared and I both have used pretty much like as long as we've been in Young Living. Raven, this comes in our premium starter bundle of oils that Young Living offers at the moment. This is a powerful blend of oils for promoting lung and respiratory health. You can apply this topically or diffuse it. So like we'd love to diffuse at night to help us breathe easy. And then you can apply it to that same spot beneath your toes. You can rub it straight on your chest. Some people like to add it to like some solid coconut oil and make it like a chest rub. So super awesome options, which reminds me, Young Living does have a Thieves chest rub, which is also amazing. It comes in a little tube, has a mess-free applicator. You never stick your hands in it. You just squeeze out of the tube and rub it on. It's awesome. It smells just like Vicks, but you don't have petroleum-based anything in it, so nothing toxic, and it's all plant power, and it works so well. We love it. So that's not on the slide, but I definitely recommend that product. Then there's also RC. This came in our starter bundle years ago, which has been changed since then, but I love this oil. It's a comforting blend of oils for soothing an irritated respiratory system. And again, you can apply this topically in the same places and diffuse it as well. And then last but not least is our Breathe Again roller. So this is already diluted, comes in the roller for easy application, and you can keep it with you on the go, which is great. It's supercharged with 4 eucalyptus oils and others as well to to relax the airways and promote the body's natural inflammation response. So we've already talked about that inflammation response. Breathe Again has some other oils that all team up to help the body with that. So those are some of my top breathing besties that we use here at home, and including that Thieves chest rub, which I didn't even think about until I was teaching class. So I love how things even just kind of come to you and you're like, oh yeah, there's that option too. So lots of different ways that you can help yourself. So how do you get a hold of this? If you're already a Young Living member and you're already in another team, you can go add this to your subscription, which is now called Loyalty Rewards. If you're there, you know how some of our terms are changing, but you can add that under the subscription tab on your personal account. If you are not already in Young Living and you're seeing this, I would love to help you grab what you can. We can build you a personal bundle. So you're going to get this basic kit that you see on the left of the screen. That's $25. Comes with all the things pictured in it, including 2 packs of that Ningxia Red, which is amazing. Gets you started on that. And then you add whatever products you want. So a really easy way to grab any of these things that I've talked about tonight is to follow the link that I'll post in the descriptions or comments, depending on where I'm posting this on social media. But you can click on that link, or you can go to the website here on the screen, follow those steps. You're going to choose that bundle, or the link will bring you directly to that bundle. And then you literally pick what you want, leave what you don't, and you customize that bundle to yourself. It'll automatically attach you to me and put you in my oily family. And then I'll reach out to you and help you learn how to use those and utilize them best. I always tell people when they join that they have the option to join our loyalty rewards program. So currently, what you see on your screen is how this program works. It is changing soon, very soon. I don't have an actual date. So very soon it will work like Amazon's Subscribe and Save, where you can set this out for 1, 2, or 3 months and have things shipped to you at those intervals. It will be no minimum order. You'll just put something on subscription. You'll have the 24% discount from Young Living, and it'll be amazing. So that change is coming very soon. It could be, I'm recording this Monday night, it could happen tomorrow. So by the time I post this, maybe that'll be the way it works. I honestly don't know. But we're in this parenthetical stage where we know what's about to happen and it hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. So grab that kit, set up your first loyalty rewards order. Any order of 50 PV or more will qualify for loyalty points that you'll start earning at 10% back. Each point is worth $1 that you then can cash in for like any one of Young Living's 600 plus products. So I love that perk. Plus then you also qualify for gifts of purchase depending on what your order total may be. And any order of $100 or more gets free shipping and typically gets to your house within a week to 10 days, which is awesome. I love free shipping. So that's the way to do this. Loyalty rewards is the best way to get the best bang for your buck. I highly recommend it. So that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Next week, we're going to be talking about the endocrine system, which is our hormones for men and for women. Obviously, I have more personal experience with the female hormones since I am one, but we'll also talk about stuff that the guys can do or that you could do for your guy. So I hope you guys will be back. I'm really gonna have fun putting that one together because I want to keep it simple, but I love details, so I'll try not to like drown you guys in information. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will talk again next Tuesday.